Welcome to this tutorial on how to set up Spotify D on your Raspberry Pi 4 or 5 with ARM64 architecture. And the reason why I'm doing this tutorial is because in the official Spotify D repository, which you'll find in the description, we can only find packages with ARMHF or ARMv6, and that's not the packages that we want. And I've saw a couple of guides where it was possible to set it up. I just couldn't get it to work, and that's why I'm now using this guide to provide you with valuable information, I hope so, and show you how you can compile Spotify D from source yourself and get it all working with the right configuration. Now, there are a lot of issues which you can get into, like debug errors or bad credentials, and I will provide you for a solution which will work definitely, and you can set it up for yourself and finally can hear Spotify and on your Raspberry Pi. Alright, let's dive into it. That's the only link you are going to need from me. The rest you'll find here. First we are going to the wiki, and here you can find the installation instructions. When we go a little bit down, you will see for Debian based distributions are packages we want to download. And before we do that, we need to SSH into our Pi, which I'm going to do now. And the first thing you need to do is update your system. With this command, you will get it done with one command. After you've done that, you will need to install the packages which you'll find in the wiki with the command sudo apt install and these packages. Now, there's one package which could also be important, and depends on your distribution you use. If you use Raspberry Pi OS or Ubuntu, it will work for both, but it can be possible that you have to download package config also, so have that in mind. And the next thing we are going to need to install is RaspUp, and for that we need to open this link here, building from source and rastup.rs. Here you will find a link which you can copy with one click and also put it in your terminal. I've already done that, that's why I'm not going to execute the command, but that's all you need for preparation. And the next thing we need to do is we need to clone the repository so we can build it from there. You can do that with the command git clone and with this link with the Spotify repository. Alright, if you've done that, you will see a folder which is Spotify D. We go into that, and now we are going to need the right command to build it up. And if you are going to use another audio backend than Pulse Audio, then you have to use another command, but I'm going to use Pulse Audio then, and that's the right command for me. Now, this is needed so we have all the features and all the right configuration to have no errors later with the right configuration, of course. Copy this link, put it in a terminal and execute it. Now this will take a long time, probably 30 minutes, and that's why I've already executed it. And yeah, we are already there. Alright, it's done. Now the binary is built. We can find it with ls, change directory to target, change directory to release, and here we will find the executable, the Spotify D in green, and we need to move or copy. I prefer to copy it to user/bin/Spotify daemon, but first we need to select the Spotify D. Alright, you can copy it to another spot if you want to, or can leave it there, but then you have to specify it also in the daemon service and the configuration, but we are going to go there now. Execute the command, and that's it. Now the next step is we need to make a directory. Oh, it was not intended. Now we are going to configure the daemon service, so Spotify D can run in the background, and we want to enable it so it is already running when we boot up and always runs in the background, so we can always connect to it when the Raspberry Pi is booted up. Alright, let's make the directory. The P is for these directories because systemd and user are not there. If you try this command without the P, then it will not work. Now we need to create the daemon service, and for that we are going to type in nano.config systemd user Spotify d.service. Now, it's absolutely fine when we take the default configuration, and the default configuration we can find here. Just copy it, copy raw file, and place it in the Spotify d.service. Exit, write, and that's it. Now we need to configure the executable, and for that we are going to create another directory in .config, and for that I'm going to do make directory .config/Spotify D. Now we need to make the config file. For that I'm going to type in .config/Spotify d.conf, but in the folder Spotify d.conf. Now this is important. If you have the wrong configuration here, you will get errors and it will not work or will crash, and it definitely will happen if you don't use the right configuration. There are a lot of issues, but for me, and I believe for you, it will work also if you just use the one I provide now, and I will explain further. Now, why do I don't have a user or password defined? The problem is upstream libostot. A lot of people lately have trouble with set this up and they get an error like me, bad credentials. I have a premium account, but it just don't work. What works is if you just comment it out, and what this will do is that the Spotify ID will advertise itself over the local network and it will be discoverable and you can connect to it. So you don't need to configure your password or user. Device is also commented, and volume controller also, because backend Pulse Audio is absolutely fine. That's enough. And yeah, device name, you can define here what you want to see in the Spotify Connect app. I prefer just Raspberry Pi, but you can type in what you want. Just don't use space or special characters. This will not work. Device type you can also define with computer, speaker, but I'm fine with speaker. I don't want audio cache. Initial volume, this volume normalization also false. And what is important is for Pulse Audio, I think, is F32 the right one. You can try it out if it works with other, but it works for me and I think it's the right one. The bitrate is the highest, 320. A zero conf port is also important if you have a firewall, because you need to allow this in your firewall. Otherwise, it will not be able to connect to the Spotify D and to the Raspberry Pi. Alright, get audio, and now we have everything set up so far. What we need to do now is to system control user enable. Now first we need to reload the daemon because we changed the configurations and the daemon reload is needed for that to take action, to be enabled. All right. What we want to do now is enable linger, and for that I'm going back into the install instructions. I think it was here. Yes, right. Installing on a Raspberry Pi. Sudo enable linger and your username. Sudo login control enable linger p. Why do we do that? That is needed so you can use that you can run long running services, and if your screen goes blank, then the music will also cut if you don't do that. Now, the last step we need to do is enable the service. Oops. That looks good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reboot the system. All right, here we are in the desktop environment of my Raspberry Pi OS. And now we are going to connect to a device, sound device, or just plug it in, whatever you use. And then we should be able to find it in the Spotify app. And we will do this on my phone, and let's switch and look if it is working. All right, there it is, Raspberry Pi. I already selected it, and let's see if we can control this device from my phone. That looks good. The sound changing also works from my phone through the Pi to the Anchor soundbox. Alright, that's it. I hope I could help you, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.